As much as some of us would like to run away and live off the land, it's just not feasible for the vast majority of the population. The most recent data from the U.S. Census Bureau indicates that about 83% of the U.S. population lives in urban areas. For most of us living in these urban centers, what does that life look like? Is it relaxing time at the park? Or rushing home to avoid being the victim of a violent crime? For this list, we've limited our cities to those with populations over 100,000. And our statistics are crimes per 1,000 residents. In today's video from The Most, we'll look at the top 5 most violent cities in the US, and I think some will surprise you. Leading off our list, South Bend, Indiana, home to the University of Notre Dame. This Midwest town just breaks our minimum size requirement of 100,000, coming in with a population of just 103,000. A typical college town, South Bend is centered around the university. They have several museums in the area, and they're often seen as down home to those unfamiliar with the area. However, when you look at the data, this college town is much like the rest of the upper Midwest, in that the job market is stagnant and there are high poverty rates. You'll see this trend in many of our entries. Aggregated for size, South Bend has one of the highest violent crime rates in the nation at 17 per 1,000 residents. The primary drivers for this are murder and rape statistics. Property crimes of burglary and vehicular theft drive the overall crime rate to almost 54 per 1,000 residents. When looking at this idyllic college town, the statistics show that it's anything but. Next up, Little Rock, Arkansas. Outside of the natural state, Arkansas's capital may not be too well known. Home to the Bill Clinton Presidential Library and Arkansas Children's Hospital, Little Rock is an oddity on our list. Usually on the best places to live list, it's interesting to see Little Rock as one of our most violent cities. However, that's what the data show. Right at 200,000 residents, Little Rock is on the smaller end of our urban scale. Little Rock has an overall good job market and low cost of living. These factors usually will indicate a lower crime rate, even in larger metropolitan areas. However, Little Rock is an exception to this rule, with an overall crime rate of 66 per 1,000 residents and a violent crime rate of 18 per 1,000. When looking at the data, the violent crimes in Little Rock are driven mainly by aggravated assault. The main contributor to the overall crime rate in Little Rock is property crime, meaning burglary or vehicular theft. If you're enjoying this video, leave a comment what city you think will top our list, and be sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell to be alerted from the latest content from The Most. Next up, we have St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis frequently ranks highest on many of the worst cities list. Much of St. Louis's problem comes from economic issues. Not unlike many of the cities on this list, when there's a lack of opportunities and slow economic growth, there's a corresponding high crime rate. St. Louis has seen a drop in both total population and GDP growth that's much slower than the US average in the last 20 years. Add to this the scope of crime in St. Louis, where it has the highest cost per crime in the US per capita, and you have a recipe for disaster. In 2021, St. Louis came in number 3 in the highest violent crime rates among US cities with populations greater than 100,000. Detroit, Michigan. Motor City. Detroit is rightly famous for many things, but more recently, they're famous for being down economically and up in crime statistics. Not unlike St. Louis, Motown's issues stem directly from economic problems. Detroit's problems are so bad that since 1950, they've lost over 60% of their population, falling from 1.8 million to around 600,000 in 2020. This loss is seen mostly in middle and upper class families. Detroit has seen a decline in average per capita family income to just over $18,000 in 2020. This decline in population and subsequent decline in tax base is the leading cause for Detroit's crime problem. Coming in at number 2 on 2021's list of most violent cities, Detroit has a violent crime rate of almost 23 violent crimes per 1,000 population. This data is driven mostly by assault, robbery, and rape statistics. At the top of our list of most violent U.S. cities, we have Memphis, Tennessee. While not officially holding the title of Music City, Memphis is widely known as an influential city in the U.S. music scene. Home to legendary Sun Studios, B.B. King, Elvis Presley, and Johnny Cash have all been influenced by Memphis. However, that's not to say modern Memphis is a great place to live. Quite the contrary. Memphis comes in at the top of our list with over 24 violent crimes per 1,000 residents. Violent crime isn't the only crime in Memphis either. Memphis had an overall crime rate of 82 cases per 1,000 citizens who called its city home. In 2021, violent crime in Memphis was dominated by assault and robbery. For the 2021 data, Memphis also had one of the highest murder rates for any U.S. city. Any city can have enclaves of good areas, but the ones on this list have fewer than most. What video would you like to see next? Leave a comment below. We'll post weekly focusing on the best, the worst, and the most amazing content. Until next time.